So, Halloween is right around the corner and I can't wait for it. Even though where I'm from, Halloween is not an official holiday, nor is it that big of a deal. But still, I've always been fascinated by it. If you too are fascinated by this odd holiday, you also might want to find out how Halloween started or where it came from. Because no, the Americans were not the ones to invent it, and its origins might surprise you a little bit. Halloween is a holiday that takes place every year on October 31st. The custom dates back to the ancient Celtic holiday of Samhain, when people lit bonfires and dressed up to ward off ghosts. Pope Gregory III declared November the 1st to be All Saints' Day in the 7th century. Samhain rituals were soon absorbed into All Saints' Day. All Hallows' Eve and later Halloween were celebrated the night before. Trick-or-treating, carving jack-o'-lanterns, celebratory parties, donning costumes, and eating treats have all been part of Halloween's tradition over the years. The origins of Halloween can be tracked back to the ancient Celtic feast of Samhain, pronounced Samhain. On November 1st, the Celts, who lived 2000 years ago in what is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France, celebrated their new year. This day signified the end of summer and harvest, as well as the start of the dark, frigid winter, which was traditionally connected with human death. The Celts thought that during the night before the New Year's Day, the line between the living and the dead blurred. They celebrated Samhain on October 31st, when it was thought that the spirits of the dead returned to Earth. Apart from causing havoc and destroying crops, Celts believed that the presence of otherworldly spirits made it easier for druids or Celtic priests to make future forecasts. These forecasts were a source of consolation for the people who were completely reliant on the turbulent nature environment during the long dark winter. Druids erected massive sacred bonfires to celebrate the festival, where people came to burn crops and animals as sacrifices to the Celtic gods. The Celts dressed up in animal heads and skins and attempted to tell each other's fortune during the festival. When the celebration was over, they relit their hearth's fire, which they had extinguished earlier that evening, from the sacred bonfire to help protect them during the coming winter. The Roman Empire had captured the majority of Celtic land by 43 AD. During the 400 years that they governed the Celtic kingdoms, two Roman celebrations were mixed with the customary Celtic Samhain celebration. The first one was Feralia, a day in late October when Romans honored the deaths of their ancestors. Pomana, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees, was honored the second day. The apple is Pomana's symbol, and the fact that it was included in Samhain possibly explains the modern-day Halloween tradition of bobbing for apples. All Saints' Day. Pope Boniface IV dedicated the Pantheon in Rome to all Christian martyrs on May 13, 609 AD, and the Catholic Feast of All Martyrs' Day was instituted in the Western Church. Later, Pope Gregory III broadened the event to include all saints and martyrs and shifted the date from May 13th to November the 1st. By the 9th century, Christianity had expanded throughout Celtic territories, eventually blending with the displacing ancient Celtic ceremonies. The Church declared November the 2nd, 1000 AD to be All Souls' Day, a day to honor the dead. Today is largely assumed that the Church was aiming to replace the Celtic celebration of the dead with the Church-approved event. All Souls' Day was observed in the same way as Samhain, with large bonfires, parades, and people dressed up as saints, angels, and demons. The festival of All Souls' Day was also known as All Hallows or All Hallowmas, and the night before it, Samhain in Celtic religion became known as All Hallows' Eve and finally Halloween. How did Halloween come to America? Because of the strict Protestant theological system in colonial New England, the celebration of Halloween was severely constrained. In Maryland and the southern colonies, Halloween was far more popular. As the beliefs and rituals of various European ethnic groups and American Indians collided, a uniquely American version of Halloween arose. Play parties, which were public activities meant to celebrate the harvest, were among the first celebrations. Neighbors would tell each other ghost stories, tell fortunes, dance, and sing. The telling of ghost stories and various forms of mischief-making were also part of the colonial Halloween celebrations. Annual autumn celebrations were prevalent by the middle and the 19th century, but Halloween was not yet widely observed. America was overwhelmed with the new immigrants in the second part of the 19th century. The newcomers, particularly the millions of Irish escaping the Irish potato famine, helped to promote Halloween across the country. History of trick-or-treating. Taking inspiration from the European customs, Americans began dressing up in costumes and going door to door asking for food or money, a practice that evolved into the trick-or-treating ritual we know today. Young ladies believed that by performing tricks with yarn, apple parings, or mirrors on Halloween, they could discern the name or appearance of their future husband. In the late 1800s, there was a push in America to make Halloween more about community and neighborly gatherings than ghosts, pranks, and witchcraft. Halloween parties for both children and adults became the most popular method to commemorate the occasion around the turn of the century. Games, seasonal cuisines, and colorful costumes were the emphasis of the parties. Newspapers and community leaders urged parents to remove anything frightening or grotesque from Halloween celebrations. By the turn of the 20th century, Halloween had lost most of its superstitious and religious connections as a result of these efforts. So this is how Halloween got to where it is today, but what about those carved out pumpkins that became synonymous with Halloween? It is believed that the custom of making jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween time began in Ireland. In the 19th century, turnips, hollowed out to act as lanterns and often curved with grotesque faces, were used on Halloween in parts of Ireland and the Scottish Highlands.